A virtuous woman is not born, she is made. And today we're going to talk about Abigail, because Abigail was a very good wife. Her husband was a very bad husband. How many of you guys do not have a perfect husband? How many of you ladies, do not have a perfect husband? Well, you're not alone. I've ministered a lot of and counseled many women who are Christian, who have Christian husbands, who've had trying relationships. So just because you're married to a Christian doesn't always mean that you have the nicest husband in the world. It's not always so. But what I like about Abigail is that even though she had a bad husband and he wasn't a very good husband, she always looked out for him. And I like what it says here in Proverbs 31:11-12. The heart of her husband safely trusts her. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. When David was on his way to kill her husband, she decided to save his life, and she decided to go up to David, and she just threw herself upon David, and she was willing to be sacrificed to save her husband. And of course David didn't sacrifice her, and if anything, he listened to her plea where she was like, please don't kill him, don't dirty yourself. She was wise about how she protected her husband. But what I like about this is that she did the right thing. Sometimes we don't want to do the right thing. Sometimes our husbands don't treat us that good, and sometimes we want to repay that treatment with the same kind of treatment. Sometimes we're not given respect, so we want to be just as disrespectful. Sometimes we're not given love, so we don't want to give love. But the Bible never told us that we should be that way. If anything, Jesus says, we should love our enemies. We should love those that talk bad about us. We should love those who don't like us. We should love those that hate us, and especially ladies, when it's your husband. Because first of all, you're two people coming together, having to be one, and you guys are both different. Like me and my husband are from two different countries. I speak two different languages. He speaks two different languages. We speak one in common. It's not his first language. And he eats different foods. I eat different foods. He thinks differently. I think differently. And we have to be one. Not only do we have to be one, but we live together. You know how hard it is? It's not like a friend that you just see, 30 minutes to an hour once a week. Or somebody even that you work with, that you're with them, for 8 hours, and then you go home. Like, you live with your husband, your wife. You see them in their worst. You see them at their dirtiest. You see them at all times. So sometimes it's very easy not to be that nice. It really is. But we see here in Abigail that she had a beautiful heart, and that she was able to be like, I'm not going to do what he does. I'm going to be better. Even if he's not a good man, he is my husband. This is the man that God gave me. And just because God gave him to me, I'm going to do good to him. And, hopefully, and I pray this for you. I just heard Candace Cameron's testimony. Hopefully, by your love, and by you changing how you act and how you react, that will change your husband. I was listening to Candace's testimony, and her husband didn't want anything with the Lord. And that really upset her, but she just kept loving on him, and she let him see Jesus in her. And that changed him. She didn't change him anymore. She wasn't trying to convince him. Don't try to convince your husband, to change. Don't try to convince anything. You be the change. Let the change start in you. If he calls you a bad name, don't answer. Don't retaliate. Just smile. ask God for strength, and and go read a passage in the Bible. Go find your strength somewhere else, and you're gonna see that things are gonna start to change, because somebody who's angry and someone who's full of anger and hate wants you to retaliate that way, and we're just feeding them. We're feeding that. But if you don't feel that, feed that that's in them, it's gonna die, because it's not getting its dose of food. So don't feed that anymore. So anyways, we should be like Abigail. If you have a wonderful husband, love him, do the best for him. His heart should be completely entrusted in your hands, and he must know that you will never do anything to hurt it or to break it. But the same thing, if you don't have a perfect husband, try to live in that. And even though he's not the best, you're the one holding his heart, and make sure that you don't hurt it, and make sure that you protect it from the world, and you protect it from getting broken. God gave you this man, and if God gave you this man, it was for a purpose. So I hope you found this video to be a blessing. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down there, and I'll be happy to answer. God bless.